wrestling, the phrase the Marty Jannetty of the team means one half of a duo who faded into obscurity whilst the other went on to great success. To be honest, that's probably the best thing that Marty's name can be associated with these days. Plenty of teams have had a Jannetty: Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat, Jim Neidhart of the Hart Foundation, Bart Gunn of the Smoking Guns. But there are exceptions to the rule. Prepare yourself, dear viewer, for a list entirely of Shawn Michaels's. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 tag team partners who both found greatness after the split. Join us. Number 10, DIY. Following their appearance in the first Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic in 2015, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa helped define the tag scene in NXT as the ultra-popular #DIY. Yeah, they had a hashtag in their name, it's cool, alright? Following an epic series of matches with the Revival that saw them win the NXT tag belts, the duo lost their prizes to the Authors of Pain and then came up short in a title rematch at TakeOver Chicago. Oh well, I'm sure they'll be able to talk it out and come to some oh my god, Tommaso! So what did you just do? The breakup of DIY led to both men becoming singles superstars, both against each other and in separate feuds. Ciampa would become a 2-time NXT champion and one of the best heels in the brand's history, whilst Gargano would win the North American Championship 3 times and become NXT's first ever Triple Crown winner. It remains to be seen what success their reformed team will have on Main, but I'm pretty optimistic. Number 9, the Steiner brothers. It's easy to look at one half of this sibling tag team and have a bit of a giggle, but you really shouldn't do that. Firstly, because he'll actually bite your head off, and secondly, because Rick Steiner achieved way more as a single star than you might remember. As well as being a former NWA/WCW World Television Champion prior to teaming with his brother, the elder Steiner would win the title twice more after their famous split at Super Brawl in 1998. He would also capture the United States Championship in 2001, the penultimate person to hold that belt in WCW prior to the company being bought out. Whilst he was never a top-tier star or a would-be world champion, Rick did well for himself as a singles act. As for his younger, even more unhinged brother, well, we all know about him. Scott Steiner had the rocket strapped to him following his betrayal of Rick, joining the NWO, winning the United States Championship twice, and holding the WCW World title right up until the final episode of Nitro. His grand run didn't carry over into his return to WWE as a solo star, but Freakzilla was the man in the dying days of WCW. Number 8, the Second City Saints. Before they fell out with each other, and before one of them fell out with 90% of people who have ever worked in wrestling, CM Punk and Colt Cabana were the best of friends. The two Chicago natives came up alongside one another and were put together in Ring of Honor during Punk's acclaimed feud with Raven. Alongside Kenny Omega's favorite person Ace Steel, and with appearances from the former Daphne and future Impact wrestler Tracy Brooks, the pair formed a group named the Second City Saints. Punk and Cabana wrestled the likes of Generation Next, the Rottweilers, and the Briscoe brothers, who they beat for the ROH Tag Team Championships twice before the former went off to make his fortune in WWE. Since then, Cabana has become a celebrated figure on the independent scene as well as in AEW, winning multiple championships in many different promotions, including the prestigious NWA World's Heavyweight Championship twice. As for CM Punk, well, do you really need me to tell you what he's been up to in the time since? Number 7, Evil and Sanada. Over to New Japan now, and a group of lads who both became unlikely main eventers in the land of the rising sun. In 2016, Sanada made his New Japan debut and immediately joined up with Tetsuya Naito and his LIJ stable. I could try and say the full name of that group, but we both know that wouldn't end well. As part of this new arrangement, Sanada was paired up with another young wrestler named Evil. This new duo won the World Tag League twice, the IWGP Tag Team Championships twice, and were 3-time Never Openweight 6-man champs alongside Bushi. Everything was going swimmingly until Evil went evil. It's always the ones you least suspect. The King of Darkness left LIJ to join Bullet Club, where he would become the faction's leader and scoop the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in a decision that everybody loved and nobody complained about. As for Sanada, he took a little longer to get to the mountaintop, but he eventually unseated Kazuchika Okada for the top prize in 2023, a title he still holds at time of recording. Considering that most people saw these two as purely tag team stars, they've not done too bad, have they? Number 6, Beer Money Inc. beer, money. No, not the only two things I have in my fridge at home, but the name of a very popular tag team from TNA's past. And for those asking why I keep my money in the fridge, it's safer in there because it's cold. Duh. After James Storm left America's Most Wanted, who might have qualified for this list had Chris Harris's WWE run not been a disaster, he joined up with a strapping young lad named Robert Roode. One of them liked to get drunk, the other liked to make cash. It was a match made in heaven. Over the next 3 years, Beer Money became multiple-time tag team champions and set the record for the longest single run with those belts in history. They got extremely over thanks to their individual charisma and in-ring synchronicity, but it wouldn't be until they split that both men would achieve their full potential. Both Storm and Roode would reign as TNA World Champion, becoming two of the most popular single stars in the company. In WWE, Roode has won several titles, while Storm, well, he made that appearance in NXT that one time, didn't he? I'm kidding. Storm has also done very well for himself outside of Impact. I mean, he didn't have his name changed to Braden Walker for a start. Number 5, the Hardy Boys. Matt Hardy and his younger brother Jeff are easily the most popular wrestling tag team in history to share their name with a series of young adult detective novels. The pair officially signed with WWE in 1998, which was the beginning of a meteoric rise to stardom for both lads. Their daredevil antics and innovative ladder-based matches made them cornerstones of the Attitude Era, netting them approximately 1 billion tag team championships along the way. Over the years, the Carolina natives have reunited on many occasions, but have also found the time to have successful singles runs. Jeff is a 3-time world champion in WWE and the same in TNA, with several intercontinental and US title runs to his name as well. Whilst Matt may not have been as consistently in the main event as his bro, he's still an ex-ECW and TNA world champ too. Plus, let's not forget his greatest contribution to wrestling as an art form, his boxing match with Evander Holyfield in 2007. Oh, and something about being broken? Number 4, the Golden Lovers. When Kota Ibushi turned up in AEW at Blood and Guts 2023, people were very excited, and not just because they got to look at his handsome face again. He would be teaming up with Kenny Omega in the double caged match, making this a long overdue reunion for the Golden Lovers. Formed when both men met in 2009 whilst working for Japanese promotion DDT, the Golden Lovers quickly hopped across to New Japan, where they won the junior heavyweight tag team titles. They weren't to last though, as they stopped teaming regularly around 2014. Since then, both men have gone on to establish their legacies as two of the best grapplers of the modern era. Ibushi traveled all over the world before returning to New Japan in 2019 to become one of their top stars, winning their world title at Wrestle Kingdom 15. As for Omega, he only bloody went and helped found AEW, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Now that the Lovers are reunited, who knows what the next chapter will be? Hey, maybe they'll decide that this wrestling thing isn't for them, settle down in a nice cottage somewhere and sell homemade jams online. Could happen. Number 3, the Blade Runners. In 1985, two rookie wrestlers broke away from a stable called Power Team USA to form their own group called the Freedom Fighters. When they joined the Universal Wrestling Federation a year later, they changed their name to the Blade Runners. These two wrestlers were Jim Hellwig and Steve Borden, better known as the Ultimate Warrior and Sting. Blade Runner Sting and Blade Runner Rock, which was Warrior's name at the time, were initially managed by Dutch Mantell, who modern fans may remember as Zeb Coulter. They teamed together for less than a year before going their separate ways, but brother, you best believe the story didn't end there for those two. Obviously, both men separately went on to become megastars, but their careers did share some similarities. Both won their first world titles in 1990, both would headline their respective companies' biggest shows, and both would have ill-advised rematches with Hulk Hogan. Though the Blade Runners were just a small part of their careers, it's still fascinating to think about the time these future legends spent on the same team. Number 2, the Funk Brothers. Since its creation in the year 1948, only one pair of legitimate brothers have both held the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. We are talking about Dory Funk Jr. and his little brother Terry. Both broke into the business in the 1960s as part of their father, Dory Funk Sr.'s Western State Sports Promotion. Dory Jr. got started first, but would soon join forces with his sibling as they went about establishing themselves as one of the top teams champions in the territories. World title success came first to Dory, who beat Gene Kiniski for the gold in 1969. He would hold the belt for the next 4 years, the second longest single reign in its history. As for Terry, he would have to wait until 1975 to get his time in the sun. Outside of the NWA, Dory would go on to win championships all over the world for various legendary companies. As for Terry, well, he did just about everything there was to do in wrestling, including winning the ECW title at the age of 52. Middle-aged and crazy wasn't just a catchphrase, you know? There have been many great brother tag teams in this great sport of ours, but nobody did it quite like the Funks. Number 1, Edge and Christian. From real-life best buds in Canada to fictional brothers in the Brood to established legends in their own right, Edge and Christian have done exceedingly well for themselves in the world of wrestling. As a team in WWE, they were unstoppable, winning World Tag Team Gold on 7 different occasions. In the early days of their breakup, they continued to succeed as Edge was pushed as a star of the future, whilst Christian was a solid hand in the mid-card. Then came the World Championships. So many World Championships. Between their runs with the WWE title, the World Heavyweight title, the NWA title, and the Impact title, Edge and Christian have 16 top championships between them. That is an entire John Cena. And this is without mentioning all the great matches, promos, and moments these two have been involved in. If we went through all those, we'd be here until around 2056. In a business where so many tag team partners fall by the wayside, both of these icons have always found a way to keep themselves relevant, important, and most of all, entertaining. I cannot wait to see what these two do next.